Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Luna Crossings and today I'm building a mountainous lookout, which is the best way I can describe it. If you want to see more videos from me, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. If you're interested in any codes that you see in the video, they'll always be listed in the description below, as well as all of my social medias. So with that, let's get this build started. So this is the area that we're working with. There is a bottom cliff where I added a sunken waterfall, this large middle cliff, which is where the build is going to be, and two top cliffs. One has a line of trees and the other is the lookout point, which is an area that I already decorated. The first thing I'm doing is connecting the sunken waterfall with what will soon be a river. This waterfall is going to be pretty big. It's 3 spaces wide. I'm shaping the area around the cliffs so that they're rounded. Then I'm going to connect it all the way across to the other side near resident services where I have another sunken waterfall. I'm just drawing a line so that I can go back and reshape this area easier. A trick that I have for rivers is to alternate how many squares you keep in between each rounded edge, which probably makes no sense at all. So for example, if you round each edge, the river will end up looking really rigid and uniform, and this makes it look a lot more natural. So I'll alternate like 3 squares, 1 square, 2 squares. I'll try to show you in the build what I'm talking about. So my goal for this build is to create 2 islands and a little area of land connected to this bigger cliff on the left of the lookout. You'll see what I'm talking about when you can see the build terraformed from the lookout point. On each island is going to be a cliff, and on the middle island I'm going to put Maple's house. Then I'm going to be using the dormant volcanoes customized in the summer and winter versions to make it look like mountains are surrounding the house. I'm going to be putting the summer ones closer and the winter ones farther away from the lookout to create the illusion that this area is bigger than it actually is. Now I'm going to start creating one of the islands. So I'm mapping out the general shape as per usual, then going back through and shaping it to look more natural. So I'm just finishing the waterscaping in this area, and here is the finished island. I planted some full-grown cedar trees in front to hide where the volcano will be, and began building up this cliff. I'm shaping the cliff around the trees and making sure I have enough room to fit a volcano and a tree up there. Sometimes I need to adjust my waterscaping to shape my cliffs. I definitely adjust my waterscaping a lot to fix some areas. Oh, okay, so in my last video, I said I would do an Animal Crossing Q&A in my next video, but this build was just so fast-paced that I felt like I didn't have much time to do it. So I'm gonna do it in another video, but I promise I will do one. But I will answer one question. My favorite villager is Maple. Yes, I know she's basic or whatever, but there's a reason almost everyone likes her. She's so cute. I literally could cry anytime I look at her. But anyways, let me know who your favorite villager is in the comments. I really do like a lot of villagers though. There are so many cuties. But anyways, I'm finishing up this one island and moving on to the center island. I'm now carving out the second island, which is where Maple's house is going to go, which is going to be the focal point of this area. I'm also making sure to round the areas around the cliff and leaving spaces where I can put decor to fill some space. I want the river completely wrapping around each island, making it look more realistic. So this is me struggling to figure out how to round this area, making sure the house fits, and making the river look good and shaped correctly, but I managed to figure out the shape I wanted eventually. Then a river will be coming directly up from the waterfall to wrap around the island. So this is the area I was talking about that I'm going to be leaving so I can add more summer volcanoes in the forefront. I was hoping that by adding the different volcanoes it would add a bit more depth. This island is going to be so long because I'm going to be putting Maple's house on this cliff, so that needs to fit, as well as some room up there for decor. I'm starting to build up the cliff, leaving room in the front. I'm counting how many spaces I need to fit her house and leaving some space on the sides. I'm starting the cliff a few squares back because I want to fit a decayed tree in front of the cliff since I can't add trees to this specific island. So I need to account for the fact that the decayed tree will take up 4 squares. And again, I'm adjusting my waterscaping so that I can round the cliffs, and also adding some extra terraforming to make sure that this island is asymmetrical. I'm adding a small section of land on the left side of the island to add a bit more decor so the space is not so empty. It's definitely a good tip to fill up space instead of your cliffs looking so empty, and it can give you an opportunity to add some height to your area. Sometimes it's really tricky to be able to fix the corners of your terraforming or waterscaping. It really is like a math equation sometimes, figuring out which order you need to build or demolish blocks. But anyways, just finishing up the cliff here, and here is the final terraforming of this area. I time traveled and added Maple's house on the cliff, and now I'm going around and planting some trees. I'm swapping some trees around and finding what I like. I always adjust my decorating or terraforming if I think that something else could be better. Then I'm adding a dirt path underneath where the volcanoes are going to go, and again, like I said earlier, I'm adding the summer volcanoes in the forefront and the winter volcanoes in the back. So I'm going to go around and add that dirt path under where all the volcanoes are going to go. So I'm curious what type of videos you all would like to see from me. I'm going to be doing some island tours in the future, but what else would you all like to see? Would you like some Happy Home Paradise or challenges, or I could do something like Lex Play does and give design ideas through visiting other people's islands? Let me know what y'all would like to see. I also may or may not be in the process of planning a collab, but I don't know, may or may not, who knows? So yeah, let me know. But anyways, pathing takes forever. I'm just in the process of finishing up with these volcanoes. I'm making sure they're evenly spread out so that it's completely enclosing the area, and then I'll be moving on to one of my favorite parts, which is decorating. But here is the entire area with the trees and mountains. Then I'm moving on to adding the grass pattern under where the decayed trees are going to be. I like to use different variations of the decayed trees and turn them in different directions so they're not so uniform. I'm also going to be adding a few of the pine tree items around my island. I really like the bark and rocks with them, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the leaves, but it adds some different texture to the area. The decayed trees do the same thing, so if you are creating a forest core island, I would say to use these two, as I think they look more natural than some of the other plants, but if you can make those work, they can add a lot of different textures to your area. I always struggle to hide the plant pots, but if you can get away and hide it, then it can definitely add a lot to your island. Like, Autumn Weeds on Instagram created a forest core island and managed to use almost every single plant item and make it look good. You know, if you haven't seen them, go check them out on Instagram. Here is another view of the area with the decayed trees. Then I'm moving on to decorating. I'm adding bushes, flowers, crops, and weeds to this area, mostly because if I start adding a bunch of items, it can take away from the illusion. Although the plants can do this, it's a lot less noticeable. So in the front here, I'm adding a spooky tower in green. I'm adding log stakes on the left side. And I like to plant flowers or crops in front of the log stakes or bushes. It just adds a bit more something to the area. I'm also adding a black decoy duck sitting on this nest code. This entire area will not be grown in until the end of the video after I time travel. Then on top of the cliff, I'm adding a dirt patch underneath Maple's front stairs. Along the side of her house, I'm adding a barrel with the flat mushroom on top of it. I really like this combo, as well as some firewood on top of this branches code. On the other side of the house, I'm adding a dark brown rocking chair. I'm placing a black rubber duck on this side on top of this puddle code, and just adding some finishing touches up here with these paw prints, crops, and flowers. Moving on to the other island, I'm keeping it simple over here with lots of foliage. I am also adding a common butterfly model as well as some wheat fields to fill some space behind the tree here. I'm adding another dirt patch underneath this wild log bench. I'm using these around my island to make it look like fallen trees. I'm adding some antique boots in front and finishing up with some plants and a pine cone on top of this crack. On this side, directly in front of the lookout point, I'm adding the grass path so I can add a decayed tree right here and some other items to simply fill up this area because it will be seen by the flyover. And Flick dropped by because he wanted to be on camera, and you dropped by again because 15 seconds of fame just wasn't enough for him. Now I'm decorating the top cliff, which is so far away that it's barely going to be seen, but I'm just adding some simple foliage up here. I'm now decorating the left side of the center cliff, and as per usual, just adding a lot of plants. I'm adding some log stakes here near the other ones and having them face the opposite direction to add a bit more variety. By this tree, I'm adding a baby bear in dark brown to make it seem like there are multiple bears on this mountain, even though it doesn't look realistic at all, but we can use our imagination. I'm finishing up this spot by filling in any spaces as well as adding this hay bed right behind the volcano. I time travel to grow in all the plants, and this is the finished area. I hope you all enjoyed the video and could get some inspo for your island. If you're interested in any codes, they'll be listed in the description, as well as all of my social medias. If you like this video, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell. Also, y'all, I can't believe the love I got on my last video. I seriously was not expecting that. I said in that video I was close to 100 subs, and now I'm close to 300. Like, what? Thank you all so much. It really motivated me to focus on YouTube, and hopefully I'm giving you content that you love and want to see. I'm already loving this community so much. Thank you all for accepting me into your community. I really hope you all have a fantastic day. See you next time. Bye!